What's in the stars and the cars ahead for you this week? Hello and welcome. Are you ready? Holy cannoli. There is a full moon in Aries coming up a week from today. And Aries is about being bold, courageous, helping you tap into that energy of drive. So this week is all about laying the foundation or laying the groundwork for the breakthrough that is ahead. So go ahead as you hop on, give me a quick hello. Let me know, where are you watching from? It's always fun to get together live every Monday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, here on my YouTube channel. And we just gather in community and we talk stars, intuition, spiritual practices, and basically the tips and tricks that enable you to be a beautiful, warm-hearted empath living in this world with the necessary tools and practices to step into the life you were born to live. So hello, Julie. Great that you can be here. Go ahead and place your hand on your heart and just take a deep breath. And so I'm pulling a card for everyone watching or watching the replay and just asking on your behalf as we go into this week ahead, what's most important that you need to know? And there's a couple that want to jump out. So hold on, that was more than a couple. Oh, everybody is really chatty today. Okay, one. Ace of Swords. Now, the Ace of Swords, the really cool thing is that this is about inspiration. I love her because I think of like Sherlock Holmes and the Mental Mind Palace. All around her are these codes. She has this divine inspiration. And the cool thing about the spiral, right? This is the Fibonacci sequence that's found in nature. And it is about finding a harmony. It's about creating beauty. And you think of the staircase, it's your ability to step into the next thing. It's like, are you ready for that next big move? Are you ready for the opportunity that's going to present itself? One of the things I love is that old quote about luck, which is that luck is truly preparation and opportunity meeting. I want you to think of this week as your opportunity to prepare. And then as things start to unfold over the next couple of weeks, full moon in Aries kicking it off, you'll feel like you're in a position where you can say, yes, sign me up, or yes, that's for me, I can do it. It is an exciting week. So preparation, alignment, strategic positioning, you're really playing the long game. It's not about a quick win, but you're just slowing down to go faster. That's always hard. Let me know if you like to just jump into things. I'll never forget growing up, I loved art in high school. And for me, my art class was a chance to recharge my batteries. It was a meditative type practice. And our teacher, she always wanted you to do a sketch before you did the final piece or you started working on it. And that was a point of contention for all of the students. You know, they'd all be like, I don't want to do a sketch. Why do we have to do a sketch? We know what we want to do. We just want to do it. And, you know, it's great. It's great to be able to just jump into it. And the Aries moon is going to want to just go. Think later, act now. It's great to have that initiation and drive, right? It avoids the procrastination if we've been holding back and we don't overthink or overanalyze. But what can happen is afterwards we look back and we're like, oh, maybe I should have looked before I left. So this is a week that basically says, all right, do your looking this week. We'll be leaping next week. All right, so let's talk about the overarching energy of the week. We are building in energy. So the moon is getting brighter and brighter and brighter. We're gathering together on a first quarter moon. So it's kind of a decision point day. When you have that first quarter moon, it's about refining. Whatever the new moon goals or intentions were a week ago, you start to say, okay, what do I have to tweak now that I have more information and data? But the energy is growing. So typically, most people who are sensitive to the moon, they feel more energy as you go towards a full moon. Maybe you might feel tired though. You know, there's no necessarily rhyme or reason, but there's a general overall vibe that I really want to start bringing to your attention. And then you can start to track the data. You know, you join each week, you say, okay, here's where the moon is, here's how I'm feeling, here's how I engaged with it. Because that's what this really is about, this time coming together as well. It's saying, how can I utilize the energy of the cosmos, get in tune with the rhythms of nature so that I'm not fighting against it, but I'm going with the current of life. We're flowing with the go or going with the flow. That way, things don't have to feel like we're always pushing the boulder up the hill like Sisyphus. So I'm going to encourage you to know that the moon is gradually turning a spotlight onto the areas that need your attention. And each day really is an opportunity to show up with clarity, purpose, intention, so that by the time the full moon hits on Monday, a week from today, you'll feel like, okay, I'm in the position to take the right next move, the right initiatives, to have those partnerships lined up. I've been doing the groundwork this week, reaching out, connecting, and we'll break down day by day how you can utilize the moon, because the moon changes zodiac signs about every 2.5 days. It's the fastest moving light in the sky for us. And the cool thing about tracking where the moon is, zodiac sign wise, just like where the sun was when you were born, you might be a Capricorn or a Libra or a Pisces or Scorpio. The moon was in a zodiac sign when you were born as well. And by finding out where the moon was when you were born, or even where it changes on a day-to-day basis, it helps you tune into your emotions. It helps you manage stress. It also helps you develop your intuition, and is a connecting, I'll call it a connector to the past. And we can go down that rabbit hole another time. But for our purpose gathering together, the moon is a timing metric, and you utilize what zodiac sign it's in to help you really ride the wave of energy that's most present. So for example, as we're gathering, the moon's in Capricorn, so it's really about being a visionary. It's saying we need to have a stable foundation beneath us. We need to be ready. We need to lay the groundwork. We need to look at the details. We need to be down to earth and practical about things, so that by the time Aries moon comes, and Aries is like, just do it, just go for it, go, 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 go. We will have been responsible, and we will have looked at the big picture to make sure that we're going in the right direction. And all the zodiac signs are so important. We need it. And we are a true blend of all of them. We're not just one, we're not just our sun sign, but we are so much more. There's a great depth to it. So let's break down day by day, because we do have some void moon of courses. And the void moon is a time for kind of laying low, reflecting, noodling, just kind of brainstorming, not about taking big actions or signing contracts. And we'll get to that in greater depth when we reach those days. But let's start with today, Monday. Monday moon in Capricorn. So do think about it like building the foundation. You're laying the groundwork. Use it as a day, and I'll even say this, Capricorn really favors structure, discipline, and tangible results. Think of that SMART acronym, where it's like, okay, we want the goals to be specific. We want them to be measurable, actionable, and timely. And I can't remember what the R is. I definitely favor Aries energy every now and then, where I just want to go. But Capricorn is really going to help you say, okay, we need to look at the numbers. We need to make sure that this is within budget, that it is accessible, that it's not just a pie in the sky dream. So think of it as a day to kind of revisit, what are your goals, that you really want to achieve before 2026? We're moving into the last quarter of the year. Are you starting to recognize and realize what maybe the intentions were that you set last year for this year? Are you able to kind of look back if you'd made new moon intentions or goals, or new year resolutions? Thinking of it like new moon, but I meant new year. Are you reaching those goals? What might need to be refined or shifted? Maybe you want to decide, that was a great goal, but it really wasn't realistic for this year, or I'm going to give myself more time. Whatever it is, it's okay, but block out some time on Monday for strategic thinking, planning, or even reviewing your numbers. Like, where am I going? What am I trying to do? What are my goals? What do I have to do to play the long game to get there? And the other thing too about Monday is start to take a real look at, I'll say resources, but it's your time, your energy, and your money. If you are doing things that really are draining you, or that you could delegate, contemplate delegating that task, because it's a distraction from you reaching your larger goal. It's kind of like when they say like the CEO is doing like the task where they're not utilizing their gifts, so like the value of it. If they charge a certain amount per hour and they're doing a task that is less than that, it's like an expensive task, right? So if you get whatever it is, I think you guys can figure it out. But hello, Hannah, great that you're here. what I want to just basically say, use Monday as a time for review. Create one system that saves you time in the future. See if you can automate something or consolidate to get it off your task. A great grounding practice for today, because Capricorn is about earth energy, is if you can get outside for even just a couple of minutes and place your hand on a tree trunk and just take a few deep breaths. And you always ask permission from the tree. You can be like, can you help me ground? Can you help me become more present? And as you take a deep inhale, imagine that the tree is exhaling. And as you exhale, the tree inhales. And it will ground you and it will focus you. It's a wonderful, simple, easy practice. And we'll pull a card and we'll ask, how can you make the most of Monday's Capricorn moon? And I'm going to just see who sticks up. Strength. And she came out reversed. So here's the cool thing about the strength card is that it's the lion energy or lioness. And she's been hanging out with the lambs. She's been playing it, kind of like, keeping up with the crowd, doing what everybody else is doing, keeping pace. But she's got the heart of a lion. And her identity is one of leader and of courage. She has more strength than she even realizes. And in this moment, not to play small, not to be meek, but to realize that you have the fortitude and resiliency to achieve your dreams, but something might be blocking that. So what's blocking it? There's also a feeling of security this week. If there are areas where you feel vulnerable or you don't feel safe, and it might be holding you back from taking that next opportunity that presents itself, use a Capricorn pragmatic observer mindset or energy to help you look at it without your emotions overtaking the moment. Because sometimes there's such emotions and stories and experiences connected to our goals that it's hard to look at things objectively. Capricorn moon can help you with that. It can help say, it's business. It's not personal. Tuck away those feelings, we'll deal with them later. It's not that the Capricorns don't feel. Oh, they feel for sure. But they know that it doesn't have a place in finding the solutions. It's just going to be a distraction sometimes. And I say this, my heart's like, make sure you're listening, Irina, because I have a moon in Cancer. So I am very emotional. It's hard for me to be objective at times because I feel those emotions so intensely. So on a day like today, I'm going to really try to ride that wave and say, okay, this really needs to be cut, or this goal, it's just not, realistic right now to wrap up before the end of the year, or in order to get to it, I have to let this other thing go. This is the day to do that. And realize, ask yourself, where or what is blocking you from realizing the strength you have as a leader to step up to the plate and to reach your dreams, to make them happen. That quote comes to mind, fortune favors the bold. And chills. That full moon in Aries, it's really that feeling, fortune favors the bold. So what might be holding you back from being bold? Do you need safety and security somewhere? A fallback plan, or to realize, okay, if I take this risk, and risk is calculated, right? Risk isn't a gamble. Risk is calculated. You're looking at the numbers and it's a well thought out plan, but it is taking action where others might have not had the courage. So if that courage has felt blocked, take a look this week. What is causing that? Okay. Tuesday, the moon is in Capricorn still. So remember, the moon stays in each zodiac sign for about 2.5 days. So sometimes we get a little bit of carryover from day to day. Commit and prioritize on Tuesday. This energy is inviting you to think slowly, steadily. Think about security. Think about the long term. Longevity is going to win out over the quick wins. So you're just taking your time, no rushing. You're going to feel the rush and the urgency on Monday. It's going to come. So, and that's a cool thing, right? Because each of us are born with certain energies. The planets are in different conversations with each other. They're in different areas of our life. Maybe your moon is in a place where you feel very sensitive and empathic, and people are like, you need to develop a thicker skin. Or maybe you're in a place where your moon has a very thick skin and that's not a problem, and people are like, why are you so emotionally distant? Like, this is just the way I was born. And that's a cool thing about astrology, is that it offers us an understanding of one another. We can have a lot of compassion and grace. We were all born with different missions and goals. So as we were coming down from heaven, and I love this idea, and that movie Soul is really cute. Have you seen that one? I don't know if it was Pixar or Disney, but the little soul is up there in heaven, and there's like this slide or chute, and it jumps down. And as it comes down, it's making its way towards Earth. And what I love to think of is, as you're coming towards Earth, as your little soul, you're stopping by each planet and you're picking up a gift. Pluto, you're going to pick up some energy of transformation, and, and Neptune, spirituality and intuition, and Uranus, the rebel breakthrough energy, and Saturn, structure, responsibility, Jupiter, optimism, your love and your faith for growth and connection with other cultures, and on and on and on. Mars, action, drive, and Venus, the beauty and your values, and Mercury, the way that you think. But the very last thing before you come down to really land on planet Earth is your soul connects with the moon. And this is an alchemical theory and thought. So as an energy alchemist, I love that visualization of the soul coming down, and we're getting all these gifts from the planets. And as you pick up your gifts, it enables you to fulfill your soul mission. And everybody needs to pick up a slightly different gift from each planet. And that'll make us all different, which is awesome, because it's through the diversity that we grow. If we were all the same, like that little lamb, we wouldn't have as much growth and opportunities. Think of the old growth forest. They're filled with different diverse species of trees. They are thriving and vibrant. And when trees are replanted, but it's all the same species, they end up falling into competition, dying off. They don't have the longevity. We celebrate our unique differences. So this is exciting. So with that Tuesday energy of the Capricorn moon, utilize that, especially if you don't naturally have it. I'm giggling because I don't naturally have the grounded energy. Don't have a lot of earth energy in my chart. A lot of water. So intuition, feeling, emotions. But that grounded energy is like, all right, Irina, there's no crying in baseball. Come on. That's not going to be a solution to fix anything. Let's come up with a plan, and we'll find the solution, and we'll move forward. We'll cry later. So think of Tuesday as a day to kind of solidify contracts or agreements or partnerships. Look at your numbers. Are you reaching your goals? Do you even do numbers? I say that I get annoyed with numbers. I don't know about you. This is a learning lesson for me, because again, I don't have a lot of Capricorn energy in my chart. I've got some. We all have some. But for me in this lifetime, I didn't want to pick up that much from Saturn, who rules Capricorn. My Saturn's in Leo. I want to play. I want to play in spirituality. Anyway, conversation for another time. But ask yourself, what's going to make you feel secure? What do you need? What do you need to feel safe in order to be bold and go for your dreams with that new moon? So check in on Monday, and you can ask yourself, what would make me feel more resilient? Invest your time there. And let's go ahead and pull a card, and I just ask on your behalf. All right, well, how can you make the most of Tuesday's moon? 10 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles is security. It's the energy of the family that comes together. They have enough money, they have enough food, they have enough time. They're getting a chance to enjoy each other and play. It is an abundance and prosperity card. I had a teacher call this the fat cat card. This is the card that says, dream. What are your goals? Start there and work backwards. What number would you need in order to feel safe? Number of, people following you, or, clients, or the number that you make for work, or the number that you have saved, or the number for dispo. Like, what do you need? work backwards from there. And it is about details and it is about resources because it's pentacles. So when I say resources, it's energy, time, money, your physical things. You might say, well, in order to feel safe, I need to have a home that I know I can live in for X amount of time, especially, if you move around a lot, things like that. So you kind of get creative. And hello, Shannon. Oh, I'm so glad you caught us live. And oh, you're welcome for the guidance. And so Shannon, you're Libra, Capricorn. Ooh, chills. So yep. And yeah, Julie, you got my share of Capricorn for sure. I love that there are Capricorns on this call. I love, and that's it, right? We draw in our compliments, what we may be lacking in, you might find that you naturally draw that in, that phrase, opposites attract. Well, we're looking, as a Libra, I'm a Libra, we're looking for that harmony. And the whole zodiac wheel, the natural zodiac wheel, which is basically just a picture of the stars, whether it's on the day you were born, that would be your natal chart, or even if we took a picture of the stars up above right now, what astrologers do is they say, okay, we're going to divide the sky up into 12 little pie slices. And then wherever those constellations and stars and planets fall, we're going to be able to read them, or interpret them, translate them, so that people know how to navigate by the stars. It's a very symbolic, artistic, and mathematical practice. We're very blessed we have software now to help us with casting charts and making the calculations. But not that long ago, just like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you had to do everything by hand. So we're very blessed. All right, let's keep going. Wednesday, the moon's still in Capricorn, but here's the fun little twist. The moon goes void of course at about 11:30 a.m. Eastern until about 4 p.m. Eastern. Specifically, it's 11:33 a.m. to 3:51 p.m., but you can think 11:30 to 4. Why is this important? Well, when the moon goes void of course, you don't get much return on your investment. There's a phrase that it says, nothing will come of it. So when the moon is void of course, it's kind of like she's taking a little nap. She's just resting. She's putting her feet up, kicking back. It basically means she's not having a conversation with any of the other planets up in the heavens. And, she's just kind of hanging out. And so if the moon isn't working, we shouldn't be working. That's another phrase. But alas, we have to work often. So if you are working, it's a great time for contemplation. So think of the morning as your time to kind of grind, to get things done, do as much as you can before 11:30, because once 11:30 hits, it's kind of this downtime. Morning's productive, results driven, but after 11:30 a.m. Eastern, don't try to force decisions, avoid making big deals or signing contracts or agreeing to anything. It's a great time if you want to follow up on things that you really don't want anything to come of it. So for example, let's say there's been a problem at work or a problem like with a neighbor, and they're like, we need to get together and talk. You can either make the time to get together and talk during the full moon or during the void course of moon, or you can, during the void course of moon, say, email them, message them and say, hey, let's get together on Friday or next week. And when you make plans during a void moon, of course, they usually fall apart, but you've done your due diligence. You've reached out. You said, all right, I'm willing to meet you. And they'll most likely cancel or something will fall through. So that's nice too. Or the problem will resolve itself. How often does that happen too, where you've given it just a little moment before reacting right away, and then it naturally resolves itself? Utilize the void moon, of course, for that. So any important meetings, any work that you really need to get done and have forward momentum on, do before 11:30. And then in the afternoon, after 11:30 a.m. Eastern, handle like admin, review data. You can brainstorm, journal, meditate, maybe say, I'm taking a mental health afternoon, just taking a little bit of break, but don't sign any contracts because we're not quite in our right mind when the moon is void. Of course, it's more daydreamy, it's more mystical. So let's go ahead, pull a card for this Wednesday energy. How can you make the most of this energy? Ooh, completion. So wrap something up. And that's great too. So Moon void, of course, isn't about starting something new, but you can wrap things up. So if you'd already had a project that was going where there were loose ends, wrap it up. Say, oh, okay, I'm just going to take time to kind of get this wrapped up and out of the way so it doesn't distract me. That's the other thing too. I don't know about you guys, but I know that sometimes when we have loose ends hanging in certain areas or we don't have all the information, it's hard. Oh, I went blurry. Let's see if I can make myself. Okay, I'm going to try to, I don't know what's going on. Oh, there we go with my camera. But if you have loose ends, sometimes it's hard to take the next best step because you're like, oh, I got to wrap this up first before I can do that. Even if you're like, oh, well, I'll come back to it. It tends to hold us back. So you use Wednesday as a day to wrap up loose ends. Thursday, the moon is in Aquarius. Aquarius moons are big picture. They're visionary, very innovative, very creative. It's a great day for networking, collaborating, reaching out to people, thinking outside the box. Use it as a deep brainstorming time. So when you're, Monday, Tuesday energy, and even Wednesday, we've got that Capricorn flavor where it's like, okay, visionary, CEO, pragmatic, down to earth. But Aquarius moon is saying, all right, well, let's think outside the box. We were realistic, but let's get a little creative now that we've looked at our numbers. Maybe we can pull a Hail Mary miracle, and reach our Q4 goals or finish up this New Year's resolution or intention before the year's end. But think of it definitely as big picture still. It's very much visionary. So we've got that of like Capricorn, because Aquarius before we discovered Uranus was ruled by Saturn, same as Capricorn. That's all astro geek crazy speak for Aquarius and Capricorn are similar. They're visionaries, they're big picture thinkers. Whereas Capricorn saying, okay, well, I've got to look at the numbers. I might create a little bit more restriction in order to reach my goal, like discipline equals freedom. Aquarius is like, we need a little more freedom. We need to break tradition. We need to get a little wild. So this is where the breakthrough and the innovation can come in. So brainstorm, encourage unconventional ideas and solutions, reach out to colleagues, peers, friends, other thought leaders for inspiration. Maybe it's a day where you look into how tech might be able to help you achieve your goal more efficiently or effectively. So don't just evaluate ideas don't just evaluate ideas, but think of it as a day for generating. So innovation comes first, the refinement will come later. So it doesn't have to be perfect before you jump into things. Capricorn might also, the Capricorn moon, it lends and leans itself a little more towards perfection. Like it's very proud energy. And it's kind of like, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well, right? If you're not going to do it well, just forget it. They're very competitive and ambitious. They're driven, the Capricorns. Aquarius are a little bit more detached and laid back, and they're okay with things being a little messy. It's like, we got to get messy in order to create. Have you ever had that moment where you've got like the blank piece of paper, either the cursor staring with the, copy you're going to write, or you've got the paper in front of you and you're like, I'm afraid to do it because it won't look good, or I haven't done this in a while. Has that been holding you back? Aquarius is like, it's okay. Let's just get messy. Let's just start doing it. Okay. So Thursday, how can you make the most of Thursday's energy? Two cards came out. 4 of Cups. The grass isn't always greener. This is good to know. So when you were looking at your goals at the beginning of the week, Monday and Tuesday, and you had that down to earth Capricorn pragmatic goal, and then this energy of Aquarius comes and we're like, whoo, wow, what about this? Maybe if you were listening to thought leaders or talking with colleagues and they're like, oh yeah, I'm doing this and it's going great. Take a deep breath. The grass isn't always greener, build with what you have, because you have a pot of gold that's being handed right to you. Something amazing is right beneath your nose. Here's a rainbow. Here's the pot of gold. A hand is offering it and she's touching it, but at the same time, she's looking. So if you felt a little kind of ennui, a little bit, because I hate to use that word bored. Do not like that word. When my kids were little, I said, you can't use the B word. And I meant bored. It's like, let's be creative. Let's use our imagination. Imagination is such an important muscle to develop, because if we can't imagine it, we can't create it. So if you felt kind of like, oh, just lackadaisical, you're not having motivation, it feels like everybody else is getting there, but you're not, unplug, detach, use Aquarian's ability to detach and not really care. I mean, Aquarians are really cool. Do you know any Aquarians? I mean, they're kind of like, whatever, they can do that, but I got my own thing. I'm not impressed. They're so cool. I love it. So there's a great opportunity right beneath your nose. And how are you going to find it? You're going to find it by staying plugged into optimism, by staying plugged into the happy thought. And here's what I mean by that. I was reading a great book, and I'm going to be interviewing the author coming up. And I just loved it. She was talking about an example that they taught her when she was going through developing her intuition of holding a heavy book in front of you. Here's my moon journal. And as you hold something heavy in front of you, if you think a negative thought, it becomes really hard to keep your arms out straight holding the heavy book. But if you think a happy thought, if you think of something that's uplifting, it becomes much easier to hold that heavy object and for a longer period of time. Isn't that cool? Our thoughts are powerful, and thoughts are emotion. They're energy in motion. They're creating our experience. That whole beautiful study done by Dr. Masaru Emoto, The Hidden Messages in Water, that's all about how words, music, thoughts are powerful, but how they affect the crystalline shapes within water, and us mainly made up of water. When you wear certain words, when you say certain things to yourself or think certain things to yourself, you are shaping your physical structure. You know, it's hard. Think about those days where you have been sad, a little like Eeyore, like, it's hard to move. And this week is about preparation, the big energy of movement. Aries is coming. That's going to be like, go. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I won't go down that rabbit hole either. We could be here forever. So utilize this energy to say, okay, on Thursday, it's important that I watch my thoughts and that I keep plugged in to the things that uplift my spirit. If my mind goes into the bad neighborhood, thinking negative thoughts, the inner critic comes up, and I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to watch for that inner critic this week. I'm going to reframe whatever I've said towards myself to make it a little bit more uplifting, a little bit more positive. All right, let's get into Friday. So Friday, moon's still in Aquarius. So we're still in that innovative collaboration energy, but then the moon's going to go void, of course. So it's kind of like, okay, let's collaborate, let's innovate, and then let's coast. So from 2:15 p.m. Eastern until about 10:07 p.m. Eastern that night. So from 2 to 10 p.m. Eastern, the moon's chilling. So Friday's another one of those times where get all of the important things done before 2 p.m. Eastern, and then maybe say, oh, okay, I'm going to coast Friday afternoon, or again, wrap up loose ends on a project, do the admin work. Don't make any important meetings for Friday afternoon, which seems, to be a smart thing anyway. Most people want to check out and leave early for the weekend, but give yourself that opportunity to know it ahead of time so you don't feel frustrated. So the morning, excellent time for strategic partnerships, for getting work done. And then the afternoon is slow down. Avoid doing anything too big or major. All right, so let's go ahead and we will pull a card for Friday. How can you make the most of Friday's energy? Ooh, Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles. So here's another fat cat card. She's got the Midas touch. What she touches turns to gold. She knows how to utilize the energy. She's not rushing. She feels safe. Look at her. She's in the middle of the forest and her eyes are closed. She's not worried about anybody stealing her resources, her energy, her time, her money. She feels sovereign and safe and steady and secure. She knows who she is. She knows her value. So Friday, ask yourself, what would it take for me to feel secure and steady and safe? What do I have to do or plan in order to prepare for the future? Realizing again that it's not the quick win, but it's the long game. Very, very interesting. All right, Saturday. Saturday, now the moon moves into Pisces. This is intuitive, mystical, dreamy, sensitive, still big picture, but not detail oriented at all. So we had all that detail at the beginning of the week. You're going to get a break. So see how the moon changes zodiac signs every 2.5 days. If you were trying to do a lot of strategic thinking over the weekend, you can. And you could, but you might find yourself getting distracted more easily, like staring out the window or checking your phone or saying, oh, I'm going to take a little YouTube break. Get the detail work done, the admin, the business at the beginning of the week, because you're going to want to just daydream. It's great for recharging your batteries. I would highly encourage you to do that. Read, journal, meditate. You know, if you can be near a body of water, fantastic, because Pisces is connected with the element of water. You're being encouraged, step back from the numbers and focus on your why. Like, why am I doing this? Getting a little bit, it's not exactly philosophizing as I make up words, but it is kind of just, let me just, tap into my intuition. Let me tap into my guides. Think about sketching your vision for 2026. What is it that you want to do or create? What's your vision, your mission? Tap into storytelling. How can you inspire the people that you're around, whether it's your coworkers or your clients or your family? Give yourself the time to daydream. Some of the best ideas of growth come from those slower moments when you're in the shower, when you go for a walk, or even during meditation. I was just reading a beautiful study on the power of walking and how the mind is so inspired. It's a great practice for generating ideas. Okay, so just tapping the cards to clear, asking how can you make the most of Saturday's energy. King of Pentacles. Holy cannoli. This is a very abundant, prosperous. I want to do all the words at once. Prosperity, prosperous, abundant week. Holy cannoli. I'm so excited. So this is a beautiful compliment to the Queen of Pentacles. So again, he's relaxed. He's sitting in his library. He's not new to this game. He knows what he's doing. He's honoring and valuing his expertise. He's got his beautiful little wolf doggy right there with him. And he knows what's going to be a winning decision and choice. He's not rushing. He's paying attention. So because the moon is in Pisces, though, what I'm going to encourage you to do is utilize your imagination muscle. Again, what does it need to look like for you to feel safe, secure, to breathe easy? What dream or vision is your heart longing to build that fits that security, that fits that light to light up your soul and your heart? Think of this week as a little bit of reverse engineering. You come up with the image and, okay, how am I going to do this? But you have to be able to visualize and imagine it. Okay, Sunday. Sunday, the moon is still in Pisces. So rest, recharge, reset. Pisces energy is great for that. Pay attention to your dreams. A lot of messages can come through when the moon is in Pisces. Messages through the dream world. It's very introspective, very spiritual, great for spiritual practices, especially around water. Maybe you want to do, there's a practice I've been doing with my Moon Club members that I really love, which is you just can take a bowl of water and put some salt in it. It could be kosher salt or whatever. And you utilize it just as almost kind of a cleansing. And then you can have that bowl of salt water and you can place it, in this case, like on your desk, or if you're cleaning on the weekend, sweep in the direction of the bowl of salt water with the idea that it's going to absorb all of the energies in your space that have been dragging you down and holding that, negativity or the Debbie Downer that would make it so hard to hold the heavy book up. Sweep it into the bowl of water with salt, right? Symbolically or figuratively, it doesn't have to be literal. And then just dump that salt water somewhere gentle on the earth where it can be just recycled into something of great beauty, whatever's been collected. All right, let's go ahead and we'll pull a card for Sunday. How can you make the most of this energy on Sunday? Ooh, all right. I got a lot that jumped up. That was too many. Spirits really have a lot of messages to get through today. Holy cannoli. All right. Who's coming out? The Hermit. So this is definitely an ultimate card of rest and recharge and hermiting away from the rest of the world in order to be a light. So it's through those moments of contemplation, it's through those moments of unplugging and stepping away that we can have some of our biggest breakthroughs. Because if we're constantly seeing what other people are doing and we're trying to keep up with their steps, we're going to feel like we're always behind. We're going to feel frustrated. And it's just, it's so fascinating to me. If you've ever been at a place like the beach or another place where you've seen footsteps kind of in wet earth, and you try to put your feet in it and you walk and you try to do the rhythm of the person who walked before you, it's frustrating, right? They might have different size feet or leg length or hip width, and you're trying to get that gait and it just is awkward. It doesn't feel good. So take some time to go in. The moon void, of course, moments will assist with that on Wednesday and Friday. The Pisces energy on the weekend. But when the moon is charged and saying, let's work, roll up your sleeves, take advantage of that and work, because you will get the rest. That's something that I do love as well, because I don't know about you guys, but there are times where I can beat myself up so much, right? We can be really harsh critics on ourselves. We would never be like that towards someone else, that intense or mean. It's like, why can't you do this? What's wrong with, cancel clearly. I don't want to say that into your eyes, into the camera. But right, those moments like, why can't you do this? Everybody else can. What's your problem? Cancel, clear, delete. We come in with different skills and sets that we picked up from the different planets along the way. There's a different rhyme and reason to why we do the things we do. Not everybody needed to get married or have the corporate job or to have the kids or, to have the fur babies. We have different reasons for why we do things, and it might break with traditional or societal norms. And it can cause friction, both for us as we experience going against the norm, or, those who go against what we feel is normal. It can be hard for us to understand. But what the practice of astrology and connecting to your intuition and developing this spiritual awareness opens is that we all came in here with different gifts and different reasons and goals. And to realize that that really enables us to come together and thrive and to go so much farther. So thank you. Thank you for being here. If you are looking for a practice to help you feel very grounded this week, I'm going to go ahead and put up this. Oh, see, this is cool. I've got a new QR code thing. Don't you love tech? I just discovered this today. So you can scan the QR code for a beautiful 2-minute guided visualization that can help you to be very present, to take advantage of Capricorn moon and Aquarius moon at the beginning of the week. And yeah, come join me again next Monday, 9:30 a.m. If this has been helpful, please do like, subscribe, share it with a friend. And until we meet again, remember, trust your vibes and follow your heart. And I'll see you all next week. Mwah. Much love. And I'm being reminded, and I almost want to say at this point, what does it matter? But I know to listen to my guidance. So by the way, if we haven't met, because I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, many of you I do know already, but my name is Irina and I'm a spiritual life guide, energy alchemist, and astrologer. And it is my joy to share with you the sacred practices and tools and what the stars are doing, how to interpret that so that you can live the life you were born to live. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week. Much love. Bye, guys.